Steel Curtain Network.
Touchdown! Touchdown para Calvin Austin! El monte Washington es arma. ¿Quién más? ¿Quién más? DJ Watt!
What is going on, Pittsburgh Steeler fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Steelers Preview Podcast. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by Dave Schofield and Bryan Davis. What's up, Dave?
Oh, not too much, Jeff. There's all this crazy news going on with the NFL and Pittsburgh Steelers. No, it's not.
No.
So we're just kind of maintaining. You got the combine coming up, so it's just one of those things of, all right, now maybe we can take a breath and look back at the last season with a couple things here and there.
Absolutely. Bryan Davis, what's up?
My head is swimming with rumors and speculation that mean nothing.
Media matchmakers are already out, Bryan. Don't worry.
They are, my friend.
I know. All right, we're going to start off with the topic, and we'll get to some news later in the show. But it was interesting. I wrote this article for SteelCurtainNetwork.com. I was just perusing Twitter, and someone wrote, "Oh my gosh, DraftKings Sportsbooks has their season prediction totals out there for win totals." And I'm like, okay, I'm curious. I'll check it out. So I go. Steelers are in a very comfortable, very familiar spot at 8.5 wins. Is their score, or I'm sorry, their win total, the predicted win total, 8.5. Now here's my question for you all. It's not so much about the 8.5. It's the fact that it's a new season. It's a new head coach. There's been a lot of changeover. I was kind of surprised it wasn't 7.5. But Dave, what did you think before we dive even deeper into the subject?
Well, I think the 8.5 is what sticks a lot for the Steelers because with Mike Tomlin, it was always about that 500 season, blah, blah, blah. And it was kind of almost the idea of, do you really want to say that the Steelers are going to be worse with a different head coach? There's a lot of things. What really stood out to me was, did you actually see the odds on them? Thinking the over was plus 115. That's what I bet today, honestly, for the season. I did that. I'm like, you're giving me plus 115? I'll take it.
Absolutely. What about you, Bryan?
Yeah, you know what? We joke about me talking about the media just speculating on everything. Well, of course, that's what they have to do, especially with something like that. The draft books right now, they're looking at this and they're not seeing anything that moves the Steelers forward, really, because all they see on a page is a quarterback spot that has nothing but 17 question marks on it. They're looking at a new coach that's not exciting to anybody. So they're looking at all of this and they just don't see it. Just like in 1992, Sports Illustrated saw them going 4-12 with Bill Cowher, an unknown coach at the helm, and they went 11-5 and had the number 1 seed in the playoffs. So anything can happen.
I thought it was going to be 7.5. I thought that the sports books would view the Steelers as a team that's going to have a little bit of a step backwards before they took a step forward. But that then led me thinking more along the lines of what Dave and Greg typically talk about throughout the year, and that is on Pittsburgh Standard Time, expectations. And my question was, okay, so it's a new season, new coaching staff, yet they're predicting a similar win total. Have our expectations changed for the Steelers this year? Dave, I'll let you go first.
Not really.
Because
yes, it's way different this year than last year because of, last year what they do, change 2 coaches. This year they kept 2 coaches. It's
right.
The exact opposite. But really, when it comes down to it, what determines your wins and losses more? Your coaching or your players? Some people would say coaching, and I will tell you, you're wrong. It's the players. So there's so many things with the Steelers that you don't, when you add the unknown of how the players are going to mesh with the new coaches, and that just adds a whole nother factor involved there. And I don't know what the Steelers are thinking a lot of places. Are they going to keep some of their players? Are they going to release any of their players? What kind of things are they going to be looking for in free agency? Are they going to handle it the same way? How are they going to attack the draft with a new coach? Is it going to be more of what Omar Khan and Andy White have been doing? there's just so many questions. It's really kind of hard to set high expectations yet.
All right, Bryan, what about your expectations?
Dave, I'm not completely disagreeing with you. I'm just going to put a little slight spin on that. I'm going with the assumption and I'm going with the narrative that the Steelers were held back by coaching last year. And that's kind of where I'm thinking that you get a few more players in there, but you change the scheme. And I think that season's a little bit different if you open it up a little bit more. But there's a possibility that the players weren't good enough to handle that. So, yeah, I'm just as confused with myself as always. But my expectations are that they're going to do everything they can to get that 7th seed or maybe higher. That's what they're looking at. I think internally they're looking at the playoffs or bust. We might not be able to see it, but sometimes not knowing the plan is good.
I mean, in terms of my expectations, there are some people out there that'll say they've never been lower, they're as low as they can get. They have no expectations. For me, that's the exact what I just said is what I feel. I have no expectations. When Mike Tomlin was the head coach, you kind of had a feeling that you're going to be around 500. He's going to have them competitive in most of their games, and that there's probably a really good chance that they're going to find a way to squeak into the playoffs. That obviously winning is a different story in the postseason. But I can't say that I feel that way with Mike McCarthy and all the things you guys alluded to as it pertains to, are they going to handle free agency different? Is the draft going to be any different? Is the offense going to look any different with Mike McCarthy as an offensive-minded coach? This is just, I guess, my own tempering of expectations. I'm going in with it's a complete flat line in terms of expectations. If they go 6-11, okay. They might. We'll talk about how there's rumors that Aaron Rodgers might not return, and what does that mean for the Steelers quarterback room? But ultimately, if they go 11-7, or I'm losing my mind right now, but still 11-6, then that's a different story altogether. But I wouldn't have an expectation for either or. I don't know, Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know if are the Steelers going to do what they've done the last 2 times they've gotten a new head coach, and they kind of find a bit of a spark and they're re-energized and they come out and they have a better season than they did the one before. That's mainly what the Steelers have done since the merger with the 2 times that they've had a new coach. You go from 7-9 to 11-5. You went from 8-8 to 10-6. I mean, if you're going to have 2 to 4 more wins, do you think the Steelers are going to win 12 or 14 games this year? I don't see that either, with the uncertainty they have at the quarterback position, mainly more than anything. So if the Steelers maintain and finish another 10-7 season, that wouldn't be, I'm not judging that as a failure, because I don't have those super high expectations. But as I say, those expectations could change as the roster gets filled out. But as whenever Coach Tomlin said he was stepping away, how Bryan and I really disagreed, when Bryan was saying the future is bright, I'm like, only because it worked the last 2 times where they got a spark with the new head coach doesn't mean that you're going to repeat that again. So I just can't see I see a path to where it could work out really well. As you were saying, Jeff, open it up the middle of the field. No, wait, maybe Bryan was saying. One of you were saying, open up the middle of the field on offense. That could, it's not some magic elixir that suddenly takes a team that's average and makes them great, because it also takes a team that doesn't turn the ball over very much, and it might increase how much they turn it over. It could make them worse by doing that. Another example is, sitting on a lead, not attacking on offense anymore and sitting back and just hoping your defense will hold it. That that philosophy could change. But at the same time, the last several years, has that not worked in any instances? I'm still trying to think of a specific example. I could tell you a bunch of them where it did. So it might be different, but different doesn't always equal better. But you could see how different could catch on to be something better. And we're ultimately, what we're going to probably see this season more than anything is, was it the coaching that was holding the Steelers back, or were the Steelers getting more out of what they should have been because of the coaching they had? We're going to be sitting here next year at this time, and that'll probably be a pretty interesting topic of discussion.
Bryan, you want to chime in on any of that?
Yeah, if anything could happen here, and I know that's just a wishy-washy answer, but if you look at the history of Mike McCarthy starting out with the Dallas Cowboys, they started out in 2020 at 6-10. Now, granted, Dak Prescott gets hurt during that. They're putting out some pretty bad quarterbacks. The Steelers beat them that year. They gave them even though they were a bad team, they gave them a run for their money, and the Steelers were on that win streak. But the next 3 seasons, he's 12-5 with his Dallas Cowboys. The next year, they gets him fired. He's 7-10. So it depends what the situation is and how they adjust, but there's some kind of plan in there that Mike McCarthy has to go ahead and get off to a great start if he doesn't have a major injury at the major position. The problem is right now the Steelers have, like I said, 7 question marks at that position, which they don't really have a name. So a lot of people are thinking that the fact that it's not going to be conservative, like Dave mentioned, I think holding back, they lost at the end of games by a field goal a lot the last 2 or 3 years when only somebody had to get into range because they could never hold leads at the end. Sometimes they got away with it, but a lot of times, I don't know the exact, I don't want to say a lot of times, but there were times when it was glaring that they did not get through because they were way too conservative. Sometimes it helps, but a lot of times it's not enough. And I don't think you're going to see this from Mike McCarthy. And if that's a change, then that's why I think a future is bright. And if you're doing something different on defense with a Patrick Graham moving players around and doing different things, I think that's a reason that I'm seeing light.
Yeah. No, it's all fair. And I think that when you talk about the win totals of 8.5, and Dave said you're getting plus odds on the over, there's a lot of tangible things that we can look at to suggest, and some people are mentioning this in the live chat, but let's look at who the Steelers play next year. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, they play a first place schedule. Well, yes, it's their first place schedule since 2021. But here's the kicker. When was the last time a first place schedule in the AFC didn't involve the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs? Because it doesn't this year. And that's important to note. And they're paired with the AFC and NFC South. Okay, so the NFC South is arguably one of the worst divisions in the league historically, and recency bias there. They're also paired with the AFC South, which, again, it's a hit or miss. Here's who they play at home, for those that are curious. Clearly, they play everyone in the division. They have the Texans and Colts at home, the Falcons and Panthers at home, and the Denver Broncos come to Pittsburgh. So there's your AFC West champion. The away teams, obviously, have to go to their division. They have the Jaguars in Duval County. They have to go to New Orleans, go to Tampa Bay. They go to Tennessee. Then they have to go to New England again, second straight year. And then the NFC trip this year is they're paired with the NFC East, which they got to go to Philly.
With that one extra game, that one single. And the thing that stinks about that, because they go back and forth of home and away with AFC, NFC with that extra game, and the rotation of it, the NFC East will always be the Steelers going on the road when there's that extra game. So it would never be that they got the extra game against the East where it could be Philly coming to Pittsburgh. It would always be Pittsburgh having to go to Philly.
Until only a few more years until they get an 18th game.
Yeah.
And somehow they'll end up going to Philly twice.
Yeah. But I mean, and in all reality, when I look at this, okay, and so I'm just trying to compartmentalize the amount of wins they could get. There should be close to 9 or 10 wins. Is it not? Like, am I seeing this? Are you guys seeing this differently than me?
No, I'm not, because when I look at it, I'm seeing yes, the South is the worst, and really, they had a good year last year. The Jaguars had a great year. They're an up-and-coming team. I think Houston's probably looking at a step backwards, and then you've got the Colts, who I don't believe in. And even when they were so good coming into the Steelers game last year, the Steelers were able to handle them. And then I look at a team like Tennessee. Sure, there's nowhere to go but up, but they've got a long way to go but up. Then the NFC South is a mess.
Yeah. Dave, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, also look at how many of those teams that you're playing that they have brand new coaches. And if the Steelers are going to get sparked by a new coach, you have to also think that perhaps those other teams were. That's part of the reason why I actually picked the Steelers in week 3 to lose in New England last year before New England was, I mean, my goodness, New England lost to Las Vegas the first week of the season. Just because I thought, well, maybe they get a spark with the new coach. Well, it didn't happen that early in the season, but it sure did happen for the rest of it. So my thing is, you're like, do you see the Steelers winning one of those games? I'm like, who's the quarterback? Who's wide receiver 2, 3, and 4? You know, there's so, to me, I'm like, I can't start to tell you if the Steelers go in adding no significant wide receivers via the draft or free agency, I don't see how you try to say that they're going to be a better offense and win more games next year. That's why I'm saying that you can say that. There's just too many holes, too many things to worry about before you get there.
Well, you mentioned the quarterback. Let's transition a little bit to some rumors that have been circulated. It's a Dee Kinkwaball. I'll take that for what it's worth. Yeah. But she's with CBS Sports now. She was on 93.7 The Fan, and she said that according to her sources of people around Aaron Rodgers, that it's a quote-unquote minuscule chance that he returns next year. I don't care about the rumor, but let's go down this path a little bit. What do you think the Steelers do if Rodgers says, I'm done? I'm not playing football next year. For anyone, I'm just done. How do you think they address the quarterback position? Bryan, I'll let you go first.
I think they address the quarterback position in a way that nobody's excited about, because everybody on that list is underwhelming. You could go with Ty Simpson in the draft in the first round. That's underwhelming to everybody, most everybody involved. Then you've got the trade possibilities for a guy like Kyler Murray, Geno Smith. You bring in guys like that no thank you. Most people will say, I will say no thank you to those guys. There's Tua. Oh, goodness. None of these guys really spark the conversation. The only way that it's going to be a great situation, a great trade, if they pull off something absolutely insane and bring in a blockbuster player and give up a lot for it, like a Jalen Hurts, like KT Smith has mentioned that he doesn't think it's going to happen, but he would love to see it, and there could be a path to it. The other guy on the other end of that is his backup, Tanner McKee, that there's a lot of people saying, hey, they could probably swap a Herbig for a Tanner McKee. People aren't excited about that either. There are so many guys out there. There's a Daniel Jones you can get, but that's probably your best option right now. And that doesn't.
What about Mac Jones? What about Mac Jones? Did that move the needle for you?
It moves the needle to me, but I don't think he is in play. And the reason he's not in play is because San Francisco is looking for a number 2 pick out of him. And you can get higher picks out of a quarterback every single time. But when you're dangling a TJ Watt or you're dangling a running back or a wide receiver, you're lucky to get a 3rd round pick. But quarterbacks, it's a different animal. I don't think that they're looking to give up Mac Jones without an extraordinary price. I would love to have Mac Jones. I would take a guy like that guy. I would probably take Daniel Jones. Malik Willis is looking less likely to happen right now too. And he's untested. So everything is a huge question mark. And I really think Aaron Rodgers probably looked better than all of those in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah. Dave, what do you think? Well, how should the Steelers address it?
Well,
If Rodgers says he's not coming back.
Well, and there's a couple more that, if you listen to this morning show of Pittsburgh Standard Time, Greg's was how he talked about being how much do you want to say no from on a scale of 1 to Tyreek Hill is what he said. Well, for me, that's the scale from 1 to Kirk Cousins, because people want to talk about Kirk Cousins. I have been interested. I thought he was washed up when the Steelers didn't get him when he went to the Falcons, and he was. And now it's 3 years later or 2 years later, whatever it is. But Bryan, you missed a Pro Bowler in there. Don't you see all the media matchmakers saying that you can complete the AFC North cycle and Joe Flacco is going to be the next quarterback?
Joey.
Yeah.
I saw that and I escaped that.
Even good old Roy Countryman on Black and Gold Blueprint is even talking about that. In other words, there are no excitable answers that we can see right now. Now, remember, you always have to remember that we can see right now. You come back 3 months from now, listen to this show, and you're like, oh, wow, why didn't you think about, well, that wasn't even in the cards. There's going to be some stuff that happens with the Steelers for this year that we didn't even think was in the cards at the time. I mean, think about it. At this time last year, did we really think the Steelers were going to have DK Metcalf? I didn't.
No.
I didn't. So, or Aaron Rodgers even. We were all saying, oh, no, it was all little Justin Fields and everything. There's a lot of things that can change, which Justin Fields will probably be available. Anthony Richardson is one that they're saying is out there. I mean, there's a lot of different things, but none of them really sound all that great. And that's why this morning on Pittsburgh Standard Time, I said, I would, if you're just going to try to get by with a quarterback for another season, hopefully only one, maybe two at the most, give me the not great option that I already know over the ones that I don't already know. So that's why I would rather have Aaron Rodgers or Mason Rudolph and Will Howard.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Steelheads 477 gives us $5 and says Tua is one hit away from retirement. No thanks. Yeah. I mean, there's some serious questions there about his health, about his ability to process in time. I mean, there's a lot of brain injuries in his career so far. And this is just where the Steelers are right now. We'll see what happens. It's obviously a lot to discuss between now, free agency, the draft. Like Dave said, hey, the Steelers go out and they get Malik Willis and they pay a pretty penny for him. Everyone's changing their tune, right? We're all thinking about their next quarterback. I do want to, before we take a break and then get to trivia and stuff like that, I do have to bring up the latest news, which is some sad news, and that is the passing of yet another member of the Steel Curtain defense of the 1970s when Mike Wagner died at age 76. Bryan, I'll let you go first. Anything you want to say about the passing of Mike Wagner, safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Absolutely a gentleman, absolutely a quiet threat for the Steelers. He was a guy that, man, he caused a lot of fumbles. He had a lot of interceptions back there, but he was that unknown guy in what was just a locker room of superstars, especially on defense. And that's why a guy like L.C. Greenwood couldn't get in to the Hall of Fame, even this time around, couldn't get in. But just an absolute, he was a cerebral player. Gone at 76. I had a chance to meet him years back, and just a very nice guy. I got to tell you, he was one of those key cogs on a team that no one said they couldn't do without, but take him out and it's not the same. He retired in 1980, I believe, and that team, that was a part of the decline. He was just a great piece of the puzzle, and I'm so sad to hear that news. One of my friends broke it to me last night, right before you guys put it out, and I was just I was in a room by myself, just like, here we lose another one.
Yeah, Dave, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I'm going to mainly stick to what Bryan was saying, because I'm kind of in the same boat as Jeff. I never saw him play. I was too young. I was too young. And, we can look back at some of those old games, especially the old Super Bowls, but even growing up as a kid and even when I was in high school, you couldn't see these old games anywhere. I didn't even have cable, So now I know my brother liked Mike Wagner as a player, being just 4 years older than me. So I just wanted to, let it sit more with what Bryan said as someone who actually could experience it and have seen and saw it, could remember seeing him play.
I wrote an article for SteelCurtainNetwork.com, and it was funny. I was reading about him, and he was famously quoted by saying, well, if the guys in front of me weren't so damn good, maybe I would have had more tackles in my career. In other words, he's talking about the defensive front, the linebackers. I mean, you're talking about, were they all Hall of Famers? I'm trying to think now. Is this Ham, Lambert? Who was the third linebacker there, Bryan, for the majority of the 70s?
It changed.
Andy Russell, who we lost the last couple years. And then
Robin Cole, right?
Yeah, then it turned into Cole, who was drafted number 1 in 77.
But still, between that and just L.C. Greenwood, everyone on that front is in the Hall of Fame. And so he was, he made 2 critical plays in Super Bowls, 2 huge interceptions, one of Fran Tarkenton and one against the Vikings, and then obviously one against the Cowboys that really turned the tide. So it's a shame. It just, I know it's tough on my dad, who is similar age to those individuals. When they lose another one, he's like, gosh, it's like your own mortality's knocking on your door. So
yeah. And I think about that too, because that's my dad's probably about 2 years older. And, I look at that, and now I'm getting up there, and I'm looking at all these guys that I don't want to say worship, but that I followed diligently, and I knew all about them and had their cards. I have every card available from that was ever made of Mike Wagner, because it was basically only tops back then, and I have all those cards. And it was just one of those things that I would look at those cards and I would study them, and then I would get to see them play. And here I was at the tail end I was coming in at the tail end of them, but it just hurts to see the guys that you looked up to as a kid just going away.
Was he a part of all 4 Super Bowl teams?
Yes.
That's what
he was drafted in 71. Now you got to think and he was an 11th rounder. He was that was another decent draft that you would talk about how good it was if it was not for that phenomenal 74 draft. Because 71, you had Jack Ham, you had Moon Mullins, you had Dwight White, you had Larry Brown, and you had Mike Wagner. That's pretty good.
They had a lot of really good drafts back then.
Well, but they also had some terrible ones too. I mean, 74 was phenomenal. 75 was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's funny though. If I could say something about 75, the number 1 pick in 75 was a guy named Dave Brown. Mm-hmm. And you don't know his name, but he's in the Seahawks Ring of Honor. They were picking guys. They were so stacked that they were picking guys, and we talked about Jimmy Allen a few weeks ago from that 74 draft. We're talking about these guys that they had to get rid of some really good talent because there wasn't room for it. That's how good some of those drafts were.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts?
14 picks in that 75 draft that never even played in the NFL. 14 of their selections never even played in the NFL.
Yeah, and that happened a lot too. I get that.
And 7 did. Yeah.
Say that to a Steeler fan now, and they'll say, how was Kevin Colbert running the draft back then? Anyways, all right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have a joke waiting for us that we'll get to. We'll do maybe some bad memory discussions, and then we'll get to trivia. So stay tuned. If you're watching live, we're not going anywhere on the audio side. We'll be right back after this break. All right, Steeler fans, we are back. Steeler fan 69 gives us $5. As he always says, it's not Dave friendly, by the way. He said, I went to the Beehive on Monday, but they were not open. The sign on the front door said, beat it, we're closed. But ching. I hope you got it. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, do we have any bad memories leading up to the Underwear Olympics, Bryan, or anything like that?
I was going to suggest something.
Okay, go ahead.
Just go with what we were just talking about. We were talking about Mike Mike Wagner,
Oh,
do you have
I
a
think
bad
you're
memory?
talking
with
about the Beehive. I'm like, which
Oh,
way
no,
are you going with
right
this?
before the break, I said. if he had a Mike Wagner bad memory.
I actually don't have one locked and loaded,
Okay.
but I do have one that I remember right around this time when I was 12. The news in 1984 came out that officially retiring was Terry Bradshaw. And I know it was right around the Winter Olympics. It might have been at the beginning of March, somewhere around there. But I remember just being so despondent about that. And a guy was just retiring, even though he hadn't played a lot in most of the years that I was watching. Then I got really excited because around this time, the Steelers went and made a trade for a guy that was in the Super Bowl only 2 years before, a guy named David Woodley. He was a legend in LSU. He led the Dolphins to the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 17, the 1982 season. So that was played in 1983. And I even remember you know how they always debut a show right after the Super Bowl? They're like, yeah, there's the world premiere of this. And it was the world premiere of the A-Team. So I not only watched John Riggins have that historic run, I watched the A-Team afterwards. I remember Woodley in that Super Bowl, but being impressed with this guy. Then they draft Dan Marino, which was a mistake by the Steelers. But I remember hearing that Bradshaw was retiring, but immediately feeling that, hey, it's going to be okay because you're bringing in David Woodley. Here, David Woodley was not the answer. He went back and forth with Mark Malone for 2 seasons. It just did not work out in Pittsburgh. And then the long rebuild in the 80s pretty much commenced. So anybody that we're looking at right now could be we're really in a strange quarterback position right now because of the Sam Darnold situation. So anybody that you bring in that has had time with another team, I don't think anybody in Seattle was really excited about Sam Darnold at the beginning of the season. Of course they are now. This could go either way. So this situation that we're going through now, even though Rodgers could be retiring, but Rodgers did not bring glory to the Steelers. But it seems similar to that time. I keep on going back to 84 in my head, and that's where the uncertainty lays. So I'm looking at all of this as my bad memories today, because this is what I'm equating to how I'm feeling now. I do want to bring up a funny fact that I don't know if anybody knows, but he had surgery. That's Terry Bradshaw had surgery in 1983. Mm-hmm. And he went into the hospital under an assumed name so nobody would bother him. You guys might know this answer. Do you know the name that he used?
Thomas Brady.
He used Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So
how about that? Just a little funny fact.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's do this question. We'll go around the horn quick, not to spend a ton of time on it. But John S., he said, Bab, you needed bad memories in your first jersey. Let's all just do who our first jersey was. Bryan, you can go first.
All right. The first jersey I was ever given was a Jack Ham number 59. I got it in 1980 at Hill's Department Store. My parents got it for me, and I wore it for Halloween. I wore a helmet. The first one I bought on my own was a Yancey Fig pen from Value City Department Store in 1997.
Nice. All right, Dave, what about you?
Well, my first jersey I ever got was not a Steelers jersey.
Okay.
My first NFL jersey. It was a Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey.
I bet you I know who it is.
It's Mike
Who is it? It was Mike Allstott. Yes.
Number 40.
I still have that jersey. My first Steelers jersey, believe it or not, was Ben Roethlisberger. We didn't do jerseys growing up at all. I mean, well, first of all, we couldn't afford them, and didn't have the opportunity to ever have a jersey until I got a Roethlisberger jersey, and that was after I went and saw him play at Heinz Field in his rookie season.
Yeah, for me, my first jersey that was gifted to me And they don't make them like this anymore. It was a reversible Greg Lloyd jersey. Yeah, that's right. Black on one side, white on the other. It was a reversible 95. Wore that for a long time and then didn't get my first jersey I bought was kind of like what's that?
Can I guess?
You can guess, sure, yeah.
Kendrell Bell.
No,
I
got a Kendrell Bell as a gift.
Oh, okay.
I did have a 97. Mm-hmm. The first one I bought was Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Bryan's deal. There was someone at my school that could get him real cheap. It was an authentic jersey, and I was like, yeah, sure. And it's legit in terms of no one would know that it was like $25, but and so I have a ton of Ben Roethlisberger jerseys that were gifted to me, and I've said I don't wear jerseys anymore. So I gave up wearing jerseys when he retired. There you go.
There we are.
Unfortunately, I haven't. I need to. I think my entire family thinks I need to, but
well, Bryan, it's kind of like just your thing.
Yeah. You know what I would love? And I would love them to go back to a different time and say, you know what? We're going to go the Penn State direction, and we're not going to put numbers on the back. That would be the greatest moment of my life.
Oh, you mean names?
Yeah, names. Excuse me.
Okay.
If they had no names on the back, I'd be a happy man.
I think it's in the CBA that they have to do that.
I think you're right. Right.
Yankees still don't do it, though, right?
That's not the NFL.
Yeah, but
no, the Yankees.
I'm well aware of that, Dave.
Just put that out there.
Thanks.
You are right. The Yankees do not do that.
So if I was a Yankees fan, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I would just get every jersey and then I'd be like, here, I got it.
Hey, you just get a Legends number. You get Mickey Mantle 7 and just wear that and you'll be fine.
They're retired,
Yeah, it's just like now if you get a Jerome Bettis jersey, you can wear that forever. It's never going to go out of style.
If you're a Penn State fan, get 11 because usually their best players always wear 11. So,
what number was LeVar Arrington when he played there?
11.
Was he?
Yep.
Could have swore he was in the 50s.
Micah Parsons was 11 too.
11. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. I'm guessing Pat Fryermuth was not 11.
He was 83, I think.
Okay. Let's get
because I was thinking he might go. They might give him 83, but that's when Ben wasn't allowing it.
That's true. All right, let's do some trivia, Dave.
Yes, we have some trivia. All right, here we go. I was also just thought I would look up real quick, just to say that actually Pat Fryermuth at Penn State, he was number 87.
Okay, it was Claypool who was 83. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, just thought I'd put that out there. Now, here's our topic: Jeopardy once again, because Jeff likes Jeopardy. To have a chance to win this. Bryan hates Jeopardy. He doesn't like waiting for the end of the question, like doing Jeopardy rules and everything else. But here we go. This is this week's topic. This is obviously with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Our topic is one and done. Tonight's topic is one and done. This is players that only played one season in Pittsburgh. Oh. I will tell you this: every single one is in the Mike Tomlin era. I did not go back beyond.
Okay.
Because you could really get some random stuff. And I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't just getting, some random guy that was on a bunch of different practice squads and came to the Steelers and played for one season, then was gone. I didn't do that completely. So yeah, these are well-known names. We tied last week. Bryan tried to do a tiebreaker, rigged it so that way he could win. So I guess Bryan, it's on you.
I always cheat. Let's go 200.
200. I will warn you, this is the longest question of them all because I was afraid I was being too vague.
So Jeff, go ahead and answer it because I'll wait until the paper to drop and then we'll get it.
Here we go. To keep Bryan from complaining too much. For 200, one and done. This 8-time Pro Bowl quarterback was already 4 years past his prime when he signed a 2-year deal with the Steelers. While he did appear in every game and had 2 interceptions, he was released after 1 season, ending his illustrious 13-year career as part of the 2010s All-Decade team. Bryan.
It's not Aaron Rodgers. Who's Aaron Rodgers?
Said cornerback.
I think you said quarterback.
No,
I thought he said.
cornerback.
I thought he said quarterback too.
No, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. This all-pro cornerback
Oh, I was
was
thinking
already
quarterbacks.
4 years past his prime.
Boop.
Okay, we'll give it to Bryan since you guys both misheard the word in there.
Who is Patrick Peterson?
Who is Patrick Peterson is correct.
Let's go 400, please.
Okay, this one is much shorter clue. Okay, look out! This quarterback went 3-3 in his one season in the Steel City with 5 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Three, 2, 1, and time. Look out. You need to duck.
Oh.
Who is Devlin Duck Hodges?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I didn't think that was going to be that one. I didn't think that one was going to be too tough. Okay. Here we go. Bryan, it's still you then.
Let's go 600.
600. This free agent linebacker only played 1 season of his 2-year contract in Pittsburgh. It didn't help when he was matched up on the other team's best receiver for the biggest play of a decisive game.
Go ahead, Jeff.
You can buzz in now.
I know it, but I want Jeff to take it.
Okay.
Who is John Bostic?
Who is John Bostic? That's correct.
Again,
Can you give me the year?
Keenan Allen.
On Keenan Allen, yes.
The year?
Yeah. Out of curiosity. I had the year for all these. Patrick Peterson was 2023. Duck Hodges was Bryan. Obviously
19.
2019. John
And
Bostic,
this guy was
Jeff?
18.
Yes, he was 2018. So
Bostic
right,
was
Jeff.
18.
Bostic was 18.
Okay. What was that? 600?
That was 600.
800.
800. Here we go. This wide receiver gave less in his 1 season in Pittsburgh after 8 years in New Orleans, having only 14 receptions for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Man,
That was actually Jeff had that first.
who is Lance Moore?
Who is Lance Moore? Yes, less is more from Lance Moore.
How many touchdowns did he have in Pittsburgh again?
2.
Who threw him one of those passes, though?
I'm trying to remember. We did this. We said that before.
He was wearing pink socks, so I can tell you the month. He caught a
Was it
pass from
the-
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
I thought- 'cause-
That's where we're like, wait, Antonio Brown's left-handed, right?
Yeah,
'Cause-
exactly.
Yeah, I remember.
All right, leaves 1,000.
Okay, that leaves 1,000. Bryan's ready to pounce on this one for the win. All right, we'll see. 1,000. This offensive lineman started every game in a Steelers uniform in his 1 season in Pittsburgh, his 3rd NFL stop after 5 Pro Bowl seasons. I guess 3 was no longer his magic number.
Boop.
Bryan.
I don't think this is right, but I'm going to say who is Flozell Adams.
That is incorrect.
I didn't get the
Jeff,
magic.
you can even take a shot and you still win.
I have no idea.
And are you going to pass or you going to take a shot?
I'm going to pass. I'm not taking a shot.
Okay, you're going to pass. Okay. You're ready? The play on words there was 3 not being his magic number. That was 1 Trey Turner in 2018.
Oh, my gosh. I never would have gotten that.
Wow.
Never.
Remember
would
he
have
came in to replace DeCastro.
I
for one
remember
season.
it.
Yeah.
I just
I didn't
never
realize he
would
had
have gotten it.
8 Pro Bowls.
No, 5 Pro Bowls.
5.
Yeah. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler.
Flozell Adams, did he play the full season or was he called in after an injury?
That's a good question.
I think he was called. Actually, I think he was called in after an injury in 2010.
Mhm.
It was 2010. I know that.
Yeah. Because he
No,
was
I
in
mean-
the Super Bowl. They wanted to win a Super Bowl for him because everyone's
Yeah.
like, man,
I mean, he
Flozell the
started all
hotel.
16 games.
Oh, so he did play the whole season.
Oh wow,
He played the
And
whole season.
He played well for them. I thought.
Yeah, they signed him the end of July.
Okay. I could have swore there was an injury to someone. I just don't know who it was.
That's a good question. Honestly,
There
again,
was an
I was
injury.
trying to do all these searches of everyone who only played 1 year for the
Well, there-
Steelers. It was not easy. Flozell Adams, that would have been a great one, Bryan, but I didn't find that one. Trey Turner just happened to randomly show up.
Trey's good.
I mean, shoot, random Steelers. You could go down a crazy rabbit hole with 1-year players for the Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I'll take Dante Moncrief for no money.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because I already used a player like him as when we did bad free agent signings. So I was trying to get a different perspective for this one.
I was waiting for like an automobile question for a wide receiver, and I was going to say who was Van Jefferson.
I was going to, honestly, I had that. I had Van Jefferson. I was going to talk about living down by the river. Is what I was going to say. This is the thing. But then I
would have applauded you.
Yes, that's not. I had that.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Dave.
Seriously, I have the profile of the players I was considering. I have 6 tabs open right now. It was the 5 that I asked and Van Jefferson. I replaced him with Lance Moore because I knew Jeff might remember that one.
I knew Moore and Bostic. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Well, I could have gotten Bostic. I just. He knew it. I wanted to have it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I didn't want to have players that didn't play. Like everybody on this list played somewhere else, and actually played somewhere else except for Duck. But I just thought that was I just thought that one was an obvious one as a guy that only played 1 season.
No.
Yeah.
All right. This has been a good show, guys. Let's do some final thoughts. Brian, I'll let you go first.
Duck's probably one of the biggest winners of them all, though, basically with his fame now.
His fame, you mean his fiance?
Yeah.
He got on the field on Christmas Day because of
I was going to say he was in the best halftime show of the NFL season. Because I'm sorry, that Snoop Dogg show at halftime on Christmas Day was fantastic.
He's winning at life. He's winning at life is what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah, he still owes me a text. I texted him and he said he'd text me back. I'm still waiting, Duck, but he has better things to do. Final thoughts. Anything can happen right now. We're basically treading water until the middle of March, so things are really going to pick up in these shows the next couple of weeks. When we're going to be looking at who they're bringing in as free agents. And I think it's going to be a very interesting season that could be a precursor of what they're trying to do. We're going to know right away what they're trying to do. The Combine's coming up next. It's going to change a lot of mock drafts. Free agency is going to change a lot of mock drafts. So if you're doing a mock draft right now, you're just practicing. If you're doing your mock draft simulator, like I'm addicted to mock draft simulators, but I'm learning more about players by doing mock drafts and having a lot of fun with it. So with that being said, just call me REO Speedwagon. It's time for me to fly.
Very good. Dave, final thoughts?
Final thoughts are, I'm just going to say here with, the win totals, everything else, some people are so convinced that any new coach for the Steelers means they're instantly going to be better. That's why I keep bringing it up. We'll see how that turns out. I know a lot of people that aren't the vocal ones that want to go and shout and use profanity and say all these other things, and that are saying Steelers fans are going to regret this. Just wait with everything. So we're never going to know until they play the games, and they're not going to play the games until September. So it's going to be a long ride, but before we know it, it's going to be here. So let's just kind of enjoy things as they go, where we're kind of look at where we are right now and realize in several weeks how clueless we were about stuff. Looking back on it is what's always going to be a whole lot of fun. So enjoy this team taking shape, and then maybe we'll get a better idea of some reasonable expectations.
Fair enough. Guys, good show as always. We'll be back next week. We'll probably be talking Underwear Olympics. That's the Combine. We're going to be talking eventually pretty soon about our draft party coming up in the state of Maryland. We'll have a lot more details on that. Check out steelcurtainnetwork.com for all the latest news and notes surrounding the Steelers and all of the podcasts, those that are not on YouTube. Gentlemen, thanks for your time. Dave, why don't you send us out?
Hey.
We'll see you next week, everyone.
Steel Curtain Network. Get it.
Everybody else gets a little tight.